Getting the facts for you on the Trump administration and the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. That agency is being headed up by Elon Musk as a special government employee. And under his leadership, federal employees have been put on leave in many cases. And they're currently in the process of shutting down the agency USAID. There's been a flurry of headlines about DOGE, so we wanted to get to the facts on this. Let's bring in Lou Jacobson with PolitiFact, joins us live now. And Lou, I know you and your team have been digging into this. So what can you tell us about the legality so far of these moves by Musk and about DOGE writ large?
Yeah, so it's a pretty complicated question to answer. For starters, President Trump created DOGE on January 20th, so it's a real thing. But it's not like a traditional federal department or agency in which Congress, with the backing of the president, creates and funds a department with a specific goal or mission in mind. DOGE's budget and staffing are kind of a mystery right now. When it comes to cutting spending that has already been put in place by Congress, which is something DOGE seems to want to do, and that it may have already done, we have found that legal scholars are pretty unified in saying that that's just simply not legal. That's because the Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse, and several subsequent laws passed by Congress have strengthened Congress's own power. For instance, a law passed in 1974 sets out a straightforward process for fast-tracking kind of piecemeal cuts that are sought by the White House, but the Trump White House has not tried to use that process. It instead has been favoring using DOGE to do it kind of across the board on their own. If DOGE goes too far and it starts to cut federal funding that has been put in place by Congress, then Congress could be forfeiting one of the main levers of power institutionally that it's held for more than 2 centuries. And that's the power to spend money and to create and to reshape government departments through laws. Right now, it seems like the GOP, which controls both chambers of Congress, doesn't have a desire to take on Trump or Musk over this question. And the Democrats don't have the power to pass any new laws to curb DOGE's powers without GOP consent, which they're not getting. So the most likely way that DOGE can be stopped, if it's going to be stopped, will come from lawsuits by people affected by the cuts that are made. If the courts agree with the critics and that DOGE is going too far with these cuts and it's sort of overextending its powers, then that should stop it, as long as the Trump administration actually follows those court orders. But it's also possible that the judicial process, it can be time consuming with back and forth arguments and so forth. And, it might prove that the courts are too slow and drawn out to stop what DOGE is doing in real time. So even though the law seems stacked against DOGE, according to legal experts, Musk and his staff may still be able to do quite a lot before any friction from the courts kicks in.
Yeah, we know the lawsuit's already playing out, but the question is, for USAID, for instance, 10,000 people put on leave, essentially 300 remaining. If the courts were to reinstate that, how do you bring back 10,000 people? A lot of questions still to be answered. Lou Jacobson from PolitiFact, thanks so much for joining us today.
Great, thank you.